the work that you're doing, for having this success summit, because now more than ever, as millions of people are losing their jobs, millions of people that have been negatively impacted by the coronavirus, just in the United States alone, the 47 million jobs will be eliminated because of the artificial intelligence, and millions of businesses have been impacted negatively because of the coronavirus, and people are facing foreclosures and evictions. And so the question becomes, when people are going through this kind of experience, one of the things that I've learned since being in this business and doing it for 52 years, at this point in my life at 76, that I've been asking myself some questions, and here's what I've came up with. I said, what is this thing called life, and what makes it work, and how does it show up in our lives? And I want you to write this down: disruptions, transformation, and miracles. That there are always disruptions. My favorite book says, think it not strange that you'll face the fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might, you will have tribulations. There will always be disruptions. Things are going to happen. I'll never forget when I went to Dr. Alfred Gosen, who was an incredible oncologist that I went to see, and he came and he was looking real serious. He said, Mr. Brown, we need to have a conversation. I said, okay. He said, you have prostate cancer. I said, oh. He said, your PSA is 2,400. I said, what does that mean? He said, that stands for prostate specific antigen. 1 to 4 is normal. I said, oh. I said, is there anything else? He said, yes. And the cancer's metastasized to 7 areas of your body, including your spine. I said, is there anything else? He said, yes. And you're ugly too. I said, what? I said, I can't believe you are saying this to me, man. This is serious. He said, but you got this. You got this. I never tell my patients they're terminally ill. I say to them that my knowledge, my abilities, and my skills have terminated. Now, the diagnosis, that's in my hands. The prognosis, that's in God's hands, in your hands. That's all I got to say. And I was so appreciative of that. Because the work that you are doing, the work that I do, this conference that you're now having, Real Success, what it does is help people to handle the disruptions of life. And disruptions drives you to transformation. Because in order to do something that you've never done, you've got to become someone that you've never been. That's why Einstein said, the thinking that has brought me this far has created some problems that this thinking can't solve. When I think about my life, born in an abandoned building on a floor in a poor section of Miami, Florida, in the United States called Liberty City, with my twin brother. And when we were 6 weeks of age, we were taken in as foster kids. And then after that, we were adopted with 5 other children. And that no one could have looked at me. That was a disruption, not only with him saying, you have prostate cancer, and the disruption of being given away. I'm here because of 2 women. One gave me life, the other one gave me love. God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. However, that disruption, it was something that followed me when I was in the 5th grade. I was identified as educable mentally retarded and put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade. And then I met this man named Mr. Leroy Washington, who he created a disruption. And the disruption was, he said, young man, I want you to go to the front of the room and work this problem out for me. I said, sir, I can't do that. He said, why not? I said, I'm not one of your students. He said, do it anyhow. I said, I can't, sir. And the other students started laughing, saying, he's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. Wesley is smart. He's DT. And he asked, what's DT? He's the dumb twin. And I said, I am, sir. And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. He said, "Don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. Do you hear me?" I said, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." Now, my mother said, "Sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never hurt you." That's not true. Words can hurt very deeply. But that was a disruption, a major disruption in my thinking. What we do, we disrupt people's thinking with the words that we speak. We distract, dispute, and inspire. We distract them from the story they believe about themselves. And through the presentations, through people that are viewing this right now, it dismantles their current belief system and inspire them to become, as Mother Teresa would say, to become a pencil in the hand of God and start writing a new chapter in their lives. And so I want you to just think about your life right now. I want you to think about something that's important to you. I want you to think in three areas. What's something that you want to make happen for you? And whatever that is, I want you to expand it. I've come to know, based upon my 76 years on the planet, that most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss. Most people fail in life because they did what I did, aim too low and hit. And many people don't aim at all. And when we start talking about real success, it's about, to me, doing the greater work, to me, having the expanded vision of what it is that you are put here to be. Mark Twain said, the two most important days in our life, the moment that we discover while we're on the planet, and the moment when we're born. And so when you think about, why are you here? What is it that you're supposed to do? What's your assignment? And challenging yourself to be in a process of finding out what that is, that discovery process, that awareness. Has to real success when you find out the calling on your life. See, most people are groomed in various cultures to work, to get a job. A job is what you get paid for. A calling is what you're made for. You have something special. You have greatness in you. And when you're pursuing your greatness, you don't know what your limits are. So you act like you don't have any. You have something special. And so as you think about what's some personal goal that you want to achieve. My first personal goal was to buy my mother a home. My adopted mother, she was an incredible woman. Yes, she covered the ground she stood on. And she worked for wealthy families on Miami Beach. And she took me with her because my brothers and sisters, they were well behaved, but the neighbors wouldn't want to keep me. They said, "Mamie, you got to take him with you because he's a little touched in the head." I had a lot of energy, and I would go with my mother to clean homes on Miami Beach, and these wealthy homes, and I'd look around and I said, "Mama, what is it, Leslie? One day, I'm going to buy a big, beautiful home like this for you." "Oh, you don't have to do that, Leslie." "I know, Mama, but you didn't have to take us in as foster kids and adopt us either. I'm going to do that for you." I'm old school. I came up in a time that my mother used to say to my brothers and sisters and I, if a woman has a husband and a job too, one of them's got to go. Women aren't supposed to pay bills. And I said, "Mama, when I turn 18, you never have to pay another bill." And I kept my commitment to that. And when I think about that, was the first driving force in my life, buying my mother a home. What is it that you want to do? What is it that's something that you think about, something that if you did that you'll be proud of yourself? I want you to think about that. And here's what I can say to you from a place of integrity. It's possible. It's possible. And I want you to know that it's possible. I want you to have a mindset driven by optimism, that it's possible, that if anybody at any point in time had a goal, had a dream of something they wanted to do, and they did it, then I say to you that they are not an exception. They are an example for you that it's possible. And the next thing is that it's necessary. That I knew because I had friends who became successful and they were able to do wonderful things for their parents. And so I knew that it was possible, that even though I was living in poverty, that one day, somehow, that I would be able to do that. And in order to do that, I had to think about the words of Earl Nightingale. He said, you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. It's necessary, write that down. It's necessary that you work on yourself. My favorite book says, commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts should be established, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. It's necessary that you do the internal work, that you work on yourself. When you live in a culture where you are marginalized, where you live in a culture and you are a victim of having the complexion of rejection, that you have to work on yourself. You have to strip away that stuff that's been embedded in you in the educational system, those things that's in the government, those things in your environment that's designed to hold you back. You can't just jump out by saying, oh, just be enthusiastic and think positive and everything will be all right. Mm-mm. It's not that kind of party. No, you got to work on yourself. You got to read, I think, in my opinion, and I'm a different kind of person up in here. You got to read a minimum of one book a month. That's what you have to do to work on your mind, They did a study of some top achievers around the world, and they wanted to find out what was the common denominator among them that allowed them to reach their goals. And here's what they discovered: that 85% reach their goals because of their attitude, 15% because of their aptitude. You have to work on your mind. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, come forth, please. He said, if you can determine what a man shall think, you never have to concern yourself with what he will do. He said, if you can make a man feel inferior, you never have to compel him to seek an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. And if you can make a man feel justly an outcast, you never have to order him to go to the back door. He'll go without being told. And if there's no door, his very nature will demand one. And so most people never achieve their goals and never even go after their goals, even though they're born with just so much greatness and potential and dreams in them, but because of the environment in which they live, the mindset is like that of Richard Wright. He said, the impulse to dream has been slowly beaten out of me through the experiences of life. And he stopped dreaming because of the hell that he was going through, because of his environment, because of where he was, because of how he was oppressed. However, that it's necessary that you can have a breakthrough, that you unplug from the world. It's necessary that you operate out of the thinking of Henry David Thoreau, who said, do not go where the path may lead, go where there's no path and leave a trail. It's necessary that you hold yourself to a higher standard. It's necessary that you create rituals that you work on. When I wake up in the morning, first thing I say, all things work together for good for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. And then I say, Lord, whatever I face today, together you and I can handle it. And here's something else. It's necessary in order to reach your goal, in order to represent a movement that you believe in, that you want to dedicate your life to, that you've got to be hungry. People ask me from time to time, how did you come up with that? When did hunger become a part of your life? I remember very well. I was 10 years old. I was working with my mother on Miami Beach for a very wealthy family, Miss Harris. She called my mother, Mamie, I want you to come in here. My mother came in, she said, yes, ma'am. I want you to go down the hall on the right, and I want you to get that large purple hat that I love to wear when it's sunny outside. And my mother did that. And then after a short while, I heard my mother she was clapping her hands. I said, Mama. She said, what is it, Leslie? I said, why are you clapping your hands? She said, don't you worry about what I'm doing. You just busy yourself on cleaning the spots off the floor in the kitchen. And then she came out of the room and said, Miss Harris, I didn't see it in there. And so Miss Harris says, go down this other hall and go in the room on the left. It might be in there. And once again, when my mother went in that room, I heard her clapping her hands. And I was curious. I said, Mama, why are you clapping your hands? And now she's irritated. She said, didn't I tell you to focus on what you're doing? Clean those spots off the floor. And at that moment, Miss Harris came over me. She looked at me. She looked down at me. She said, I didn't tell you why she's clapping her hands. And I looked up and I said, why, ma'am? She said, when I have people work for me that are poor, that are colored, I make them clap their hands to make sure that they're not stealing. I dropped the washcloth. I stood up, and at this time, mind you, I'm 76. At this time, Black people were not supposed to look white people in the eyes. I looked her in the eyes. I said, my mother is not a thief. My mother is a Christian. She would not steal from you or anybody. She loves you and she loves your children. My mother is not a thief. And she was taken aback and she just walked away. And I kneeled back down and started scrubbing that floor. And tears mixed with the soap and water. That was the birth of hunger in me. I said, this will never happen to me when I become a man. On the way back, catching a bus from Miami Beach back to where we lived in poverty and crime and drugs. My mother said, Leslie? Yes, ma'am, Mama. Why are you crying, boy? I'm not a man. Would you be a man soon enough? You're 10 years old. You'll be a man. I want to be a man now, Mama. Why? Because if I was a man, I would buy groceries for us. And we would not have to wait around while the families you work for, after they get through eating, that we eat the leftovers. They tell you, Mamie, you can take this home with you for those kids that you have adopted. If I was a man, if I were a man now, we wouldn't have to wear hand-me-down clothes. I'll be able to buy clothes for us and for you. And if I was a man now, no one will ever make you clap your hands because they think that you might steal something. She said, Miss Harris told you that, didn't she? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, she did. When I become a man, that will never happen to you again, Mama. And I become a man, you won't cook for anybody's family. You just cook for me. My mother used to bake a sweet potato pie so good. You couldn't eat it with your shoes on. You had to kick your shoes off so you could wiggle your toes. Oh my goodness. When my mother started baking a sweet potato pie, angels stopped flapping their wings and say, uh-oh, Mamie's working in the kitchen, baking a sweet potato pie. All the neighbors would swarm around. Is it ready yet? So as you think about your goals and dreams, it's necessary that you have something that becomes your magnificent obsession, something that you decide that this is a non-negotiable, something that you say that this is something that I have got to do. If you're casual about your dream will become a casualty. It's necessary that you have a program to work on yourself, to read 30 to 40 pages of something positive every day, to have goals that you write down, goals that you focus on and working on, goals that you're willing to put in the time and the effort and the energy to make them become reality, and to hold that vision of the goal already accomplished in your mind. My favorite book says, I will give you all your eyes can see. Most people never achieve their goals because they become victims of weapons of mass distractions. So many people right now are distracted by the coronavirus, distracted by the economy, locally and globally, distracted by all the things that's going on politically. It takes effort. It's necessary that you discipline your mind. Keep thine eyes single. The whole body will be full of light. And not only is it possible that you can have your dream, and it's necessary that you decide that your dream is a non-negotiable, it's you. It's you. See, if you're born with a lot of wealth, that will help. If you have wealth already in your bloodline, that will help. If you graduated from some prestigious institution that gives you the leverage and ability to use your knowledge and abilities and skills to accelerate your ability to create wealth, that will help. But if you don't have any of those things, the major key to your transforming your life, to living a life of significance, to living a life that you were called for, to living a life that will allow you to make an impact, to live a life that will outlive you, that is you. George Bernard Shaw said, the people that make it in his life, they look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. It's you. It's you. Oh, things are going to happen to you. But I like what L.C. Robinson said. He said, things may happen around you and things may happen to you, but the only things that really count are the things that happen in you. It's you. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves that we are underlings. It's you. There's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. It's you. I take responsibility for my life. I decided that I was not going to give in to the racism, to the prejudice, to the systems that were stacked against me to destroy my sense of self. It's you. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who was a brilliant man, he said, work on your mind daily, constantly, to alter the way that you want to begin to live the quality of your life. Live your life in such a way that the future you will say, I'm so glad you did that. Wow. I'm so glad you followed the words of Henry David Thoreau, who said, do not go where the path may lead, go where there's no path and leave a trail. Don't settle. The next thing is, it's possible. It's necessary. It's you. It's hard. I wish I could tell you that it would be easy. Life is hard. But if you do what is easy, come up with excuses, give in to the adversities. If you do what is easy, surrender. If you do what is easy, lower your standards. If you do what is easy, squander your time being a spectator rather than a player, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, willing to learn, if not willing to learn, nobody can help you. Willing to study, willing to hold the vision of what you want to create. If you're willing to learn, no one can stop you. It's hard, but you can do hard. You can do hard because you got it like that. You're made in the likeness and image of God. You've been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth. Yeah, you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. And here's something else. As you look at your goals, Look at your dreams. It's worth it. It's worth it. Whatever you have to go through, it's worth it to unlevel, to let go of the toxic, negative relationships that's surrounding you. Many people never achieve their goals and dreams because they have too many toxic, negative, energy draining people in their lives. My mother used to say, birds of a feather flock together. If you want to be a winner in this thing in life, you've got to decide that you're going to upgrade your relationships. There are two types of relationships. There are toxic relationships, relationships that drain you. Relationships, there are people who are always there when they need you, but when you need them, you can't find them. Relationships, that's very important. You want to build relationship capital. You want to let go of be dragged, let go of people that are not positive, that are not purposeful, that's not going in the direction of where you're going, that's not productive and not focused and not disciplined, because people rub off on you. The great Oscar-winning actor Sidney Poitier said that when you go for a walk with someone, something happens. Either you adjust to their pace or they adjust to your pace. Whose pace have you adjusted to? Yeah, relationships matter. Oh, behave. You make me Randy, baby. It's you. There's some people, if you never saw them again, it would be too soon. Oh, yes, yes. And so as you look at yourself and look at your goals, what will make it worth it for you to face the rejections, the failures, the disappointments, the setbacks, the adversities? Many times in life when we have a teeth-rattling experience and the very foundation of our life has been shaken, we run to God only to discover that it's God that's doing the shaking. Disruptions, transformation, and miracles. Miracles are things that God does for you, through you, as you, and you know it's not you, and you just say, look at God. Wow, I got through that. Oh, yes, it's you, and it's worth it. Whatever you want to do in life, it comes with a price. Nietzsche said, if you know the why for living, you can endure almost anyhow. It's worth it. What will make it worth it for you? What is it that when you know the purpose of your being here, that you don't need an alarm clock to get up in the morning? Oh, what is it that will make it worth it for you when you have lost everything, that you will get up and start all over again? My mentee, Willie Jolly, said a setback is a setup for comeback. You have comeback power. I have a quote that I love that says, if you get knocked down in life, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. Oh, what will make it worth it for you to get back up again, to get back in the fight again when you've been knocked senseless by this thing called life? And then it's done. Stick a fork in it. It's done. You create so much momentum when you believe that it's possible, when you decide that it's necessary, when you take on the responsibility to go for it, when you acknowledge that it's hard, but you can do hard. And then when you write down 5 things that make it worth it for you to pay the price for it, you can stick a fork in that. You're going to make some things happen. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you. When you find your reason for being here, when you decide, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to do this. This is the reason why I'm here. I've got to do this. You will fail your way to success. It's okay. It's all right. You will understand why 8 out of 10 millionaires have been bankrupt, but they kept on coming back. You will understand why Walt Disney, who filed bankruptcy 7 times, but he kept coming back. He kept coming back. He just wouldn't stop. Walter B. Chrysler failed over 42 times in the automobile industry, but he kept coming back. Oh, yes, yes. You got it like that. You have a power. You have a presence in you. Dr. Howard Thurman, who was the mentor to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Albert Schweitzer and Mahatma Gandhi, he said, there's something in each and every one of you that waits and listens to the voice of the genuine in yourself. It will be perhaps the only guide you will ever hear. And if you cannot hear it, all of your life, your days will be spent on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. I submit to you that while you found it appealing to be in the audience of Real Success 2021, Let's Get It Done, it's because you decided that nobody's going to pull your strings. You decided, like Wayne Dyer said, pull your own strings. You decided, I know it's lonely at the top, but you eat better. You've decided, people say money won't make you happy, but everybody want to find out for themselves. Oh, behave, hello. Oh, it's good to be me. It's you. Oh, my. You are a masterpiece because you're a piece of the master. And so when you think about the greats of Deepak Chopra, and you think about all the great speakers that have come here that I can't even hold a candle to, Deepak has been a major influence in my life. And when you think about Justin and all the other presenters, we have these messengers of hope. When there's hope in the future, that gives you power in the present. Oh, when you think about Ashlyn and people who've dedicated themselves to the calling on their life, you have a calling too. You were chosen out of 400 million sperm. You have a calling too. There is a work that you're supposed to do. There's something that's yours. That's something that has your name on it. Just think about that. Think about this place where we are right now. There's a reckoning going on globally. Oh, some stuff's going on up in here, up in here. And as you think about it and reflect on your life, I feel so honored to be in your presence. I'm in the presence of greatness. You have something special. Greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. You have something special. And when you know that, when you're pursuing your greatness, you don't know what your limits are. So you act like you don't have any. Yeah. You were born at this time. You've been for this time, for this moment in history. There are people who read history, and there are people who write history because of how they live their lives. When they answer the call on their lives, when they realize that they've been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth. Oh, most people are going to their graves not knowing who they are. They are living like Darren Benzie, who wrote the book Misplaced Life. Most people are living a misplaced life. Most people die at age 25 and don't get buried until they're 65. So I like to say to you in the words of Dr. Miles Monroe, my brother who made his transition in a plane crash, rob the cemetery of your genius of your inventions, of your innovation, of your leadership, of your voice, of your story. I'm reminded of these words I'd like to leave with you. The ideal situation for a man or woman to die is to have family members praying with them as they cross over. But imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the ghost of the dreams, the ideas, the abilities, the talents, the gifts given to you by life, but you, for whatever reason, you never pursued those dreams. You never used those gifts. You never used those talents. We never saw that leadership. We never heard your voice. And there they are looking at you with large, angry eyes saying, we came to you and only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever. The question is, if you died today, the question is, what will die with you? What books, what voice, what story, what invention, what leadership? One guy said, oh Lord, to reach the point of death, only to realize that you've never lived, only to realize that you never scraped the surface of your potential. I'm reminded of a woman who came home after being told that she had terminal breast cancer. And she was in the house by herself, and she made herself a cup of tea. And she sat thinking for a while, and she took a sip of the tea. And then she took the cup and threw it up against the wall with rage. And she said, I refuse to die an unlived life. The Real Success Conference is designed for you not to die an unlived life. The Real Success Conference, with all the speakers and all the training and all the offerings, are designed to help you discover the truth of who you are. Winston Churchill said, the truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but at the end, there it is. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And the truth that you discover about yourself at the Real Success Conference, the real success, living a life that will outlive you, the real success, understanding that Horace Mann made a point that we should be ashamed to die until we have made some major contribution to humankind. Real success is discovering the truth of why God saw you and said, you know what? Got a lot of choices here. 400 million. Bam! I want that one. Yeah, I want that one. That's yeah. I want him. Yeah, he's got something. He's bringing something special here. He chose you. He chose you. Yeah, I want the man. So yeah, that guy Justin. Yeah, we're gonna call him. His name Justin. Yeah, that's what we're gonna name him, Justin. He's a bad boy. He's gonna teach you how to pitch, how to sell your ideas. Yeah. Well, teach you how to speak and how to sell yourself. This is the attention economy. Yeah. He wants you. Yeah. Saji, he wants him. There he goes. Yeah, there's a bad news up in here. This has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's Baby Boy. It's been a plum-pleasing pleasure, as well as a privilege.